Hello, and welcome to Narrative Notions, where we unleash our unbridled, maybe unpopular opinions about books, movies, TV shows, and all things media. All opinions are our own, and we apologize for nothing. Hashtag dead dove. Do not eat. We are your hosts. I am Bethany, and that is
Bianca.
her mic is working this time. And on today's episode, we are talking about book to movie adaptations that we love, that we hate, that we want but are hesitant about, and ones that we think TV and movie producers should never touch ever with a 39.5 foot pole because they are mean ones, Mr. Grinch. But before we do that, Bianca, give us an update on your currently reading and or watching list. Has it changed at all?
It has. I'm so proud of myself. So
Oh,
I have actually finished 4 books this week. Amazing. Be so proud. Um, they were some books that I started and finished this week, so the list is mostly the same. But this week I finished The Paris Apartment. I made a book talk video about it and how it was one of the most boring books I have ever read in my life. And I had several people agree with me in the comments. So, um, if you want to take a nap, go and read that book. Otherwise, stay away from it. I finished The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which Bethany wanted me to read. I listened to it as an audiobook. I really hated it. She really loves the books. I
it's okay.
can't
I
do
gave
it,
her a recap of the entire series. It's fine. She's caught up. She knows what happens.
which is pretty cool. I don't think I could survive going all the way through the whole
Yeah.
series. If I were
Granted,
still a
you
kid,
are
it would be great.
25 years old, so yeah. We are
It
not the
just,
target audience anymore.
ew.
Yeah.
I don't like anyone in the series. So, and then I started and finished Pretty Monster by Sheridan Ann, which I gave two
Nice.
stars. In my review, I said, I wanted to gouge my eyes out with a melon baller and throw them into the ocean during this entire book. It was
She texted
terrible.
me. She texted me and told me that she has not read a good book all week, and that is the habit
Dude.
of hers.
But I did finish one today that I started yesterday. Proud of myself. Also listening to it as an audiobook. It is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. A lot of her books, other than the Housemaid series, have disappointed me, but I really like this one. I didn't see the twists coming at all, and I was at work and I was listening to this and I'm just like, "Oh, what is going on?" So that one was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. And then I'm still reading pretty much everything I was before, but I did add a book, which is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, which is very dark, and I'm about 7% into that. And I don't think I'm ready for how dark it's gonna get. I'm not exactly sure if it's like a dark romance. I just know it's dark. These two people just got kidnapped out of a car on the side of the road and they woke up in this creepy dude's basement.
Nice.
So, I have a feeling it's gonna hurt.
Probably.
Ready for that. Currently watching. I'm still watching Call the Midwife. I'm almost done with season 11. I can't watch anything else. I can't do it. Also, behind me is my cat Clementine. She doesn't answer to Clementine. She answers to anything with the sound oop in it. So she usually goes by boop. She wants to be let out. I promise she'll be fine. I also have somewhere in here my orange menace Cassian.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I totally thought that Clementine was Clarence.
That's because it's dark. Cassian is somewhere around there. Ignore the Christmas ornaments. I still haven't taken down my Christmas tree and it's almost February, dude. I'm lazy. But yeah, you'll see Cassian running around in the background. What is your currently watching and reading list?
Well, currently reading hasn't changed. I'm still reading Stolen Air. I'm pretty far into it. I haven't updated on Goodreads, but I'm
Shame.
I know, whatever. I am enjoying it so far though. Ren's backstory makes me so sad. Like I feel so bad for her and thinking about Queen of Nothing and thinking about that child and knowing that it was Ren, it's like, oh, okay, that hurts. And knowing what happens, I'm like, oh, this poor child. All right.
I need to
I thought you were
reread.
just I thought you were just a menace. But no, that poor child. Oh my gosh. Um, Oak is no Cardin, obviously, but he's pretty cool. I like him. He was not as much of a shithead as he was as a child. So, good
That's
vibes
good.
going. I In the filming of this episode, we are filming on a Sunday, so Percy Jackson is still going, but by the time this episode comes out, Percy Jackson, the TV show, will be over because the last episode comes out on Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off of my currently watching for the sake of the timing of this episode. But I did start watching a it came out like 3 years ago, Thai drama called Not Me, and it's about these twins that have like I don't want to say like a physical connection, but like if one of them is almost dying, the other person can feel it. And one of them is in a motorcycle gang and he almost dies and he's in the hospital. So his twin brother takes over and becomes him to just find out who nearly killed his brother. And it's actually pretty good. I love Thai dramas, but this is one of that I'm really excited for. I'm only on episode 3, but I'm excited. So,
We're both fans of like Asian dramas. I've seen mostly Korean dramas and some Taiwanese dramas. Bethany has seen it all. If
I
it's an
watch them
Asian
all.
country and it
Oh yeah.
has a drama, she's gonna
I
watch
started
it.
watching Vietnamese dramas a while ago. Those are pretty good. They're not as there's not a whole lot of like diversity when it comes to plot for Vietnamese dramas, but I mean, I will watch anything. They're all so good. I love them. The plots are wild because a lot of these plots would never happen in American TV shows.
No.
So I like the curiosity that gets satisfied when I or that comes with the plots of Asian dramas, if that makes sense. So,
Oh my god, they held hands. It's been 15 episodes and he finally looked her in the eyes and said her first name.
girl, not
It's
in Thai
meant to
dramas. I
be.
we've got people shooting each other in Thai dramas. Good Lord. I
This is
watched
because I've
one.
only seen Korean dramas.
I watched a Thai drama a while ago. Episode 2. Episode 2. And there was one that I watched first 5 minutes. First 5 minutes, sex. I saw body parts.
I mean, in American shows, literally, first episode, it starts penis.
Fair.
Immediate penis.
Thai dramas are just on a whole new level aside from like compared to Korean and Japanese dramas. Thailand's its own battlefield. I love it. It's amazing.
Okay, back to the matter at hand. This is a book episode. We're getting too much into the Thai dramas and penises. This is a book episode. Okay, book to screen adaptations. Do you want to start with a particular category? I only really have love, hate, one hesitant, and one mixed feelings. I didn't fully understand what you meant by stay away from them. I thought you meant ones that I don't want to watch. So that's all you, homie. We did
Okay.
not discuss what we had on our list before this, so
We
be
never
prepared.
do. We never do.
Makes it more fun.
I have hate, love, and hesitant. I'm been thinking of ones that should never be made into um adaptations, but I haven't come up with
Part
any, so that's
2.
yeah, part two, if we ever get there. All right.
I've got a
Um,
long, long list.
what do we want to start with? Do you want to start with love, hesitant, or hate?
I feel like we can bounce around. Let's bounce
Okay.
around. Let's start with love.
All right, I can do that. I can start with love. My first one, it it almost feels like a cheat almost to say like Heartstopper because it's a graphic novel. And so like graphic novels and mangas feel like they're cheating just
I wrote it down
because
too.
just because it you have the visuals there, so you can get everything down to a T for the most part. So it kind of feels like a cheat to say Heartstopper, but I love it. It's so cute, and I love the books, and I'm so happy you got them for me.
I got them for her for Christmas. I got a
I
whole
read all
box
of them
set.
in a day.
Yes, she did. I wrote down Heartstopper. I have only seen the show. I have not finished it. I am
I was about to
terrible.
ask you. You have 4 episodes
I
left.
would have told you if I finished.
They're 20 minutes. You have 4 episodes left. It'll take
Listen,
2 hours.
call the midwife. Anyway, I wrote it down. I haven't read the books, but she sent me about a bajillion screenshots of their stupid faces. So
It's
I
so
I
funny. I love the
understand the
art style.
gist of what's going on. But yes, Heartstopper I think is very, very cute. Whether or not I have read the books, I still enjoy the adaptation and I think that it is well done.
Yeah.
I have mostly love. I have 3 hate.
I, yeah, same.
My first one that I love, which is very, very obvious, is The Hunger Games.
Yes,
Because of course,
absolutely.
I was like one of the biggest THG nerds ever as a kid. And I have all of the books. I'm also currently reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I can. I have not finished it. I saw the movie first, whatever, but God, I was obsessed with Josh Hutcherson, and I have said it before, and I will say it again. I love that man.
Oh,
I love that
yeah.
man. I don't like Gale. I don't like what the fuck is his name? Liam Hemsworth. I don't like him. He has a punchable face.
I had a
Yes,
feeling that was
ma'am.
coming.
Hello. Clementine
Um,
says hi. That's her butt.
cute.
But yes, the Hunger Games, I feel like in terms of like taking the material and putting it on screen, probably one of the best. Now, did they focus mostly on the love triangle? Yes. However, that's a whole thing with the Capitol, and it was to be expected. I think that it was so well done. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's one of the best. It's so timeless.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no notes. Like, I completely agree. It's, yeah,
It's
I
just the
just agree.
best. I
Um,
rewatch it every couple of years. So
yeah, we still need to have our Hunger Games marathon. We keep talking about it, but we haven't done it yet.
it needs to
Um,
happen. It'll happen soon.
my next one that I love is kind of an unpopular opinion now that I think about it, but the Maze Runner books. I love those movies, and I can do like a whole deep dive on why I love both the books and the movies so much and why I think the movies are very well done. Um, But I mean, that might be our first deep dive episode that we do because I can explain that. I can talk about that for hours. I love how they did the movies, and I have absolutely no notes. And Dylan O'Brien and Thomas Brody Sangster and the guy who played Minho, I don't remember what his name is. Sorry. um, they they did a great job, and I love those movies. Um, so that's that is my unpopular opinion that I do not apologize for. So,
I did also put the Maze Runner on here. I've read all of the books other than the latest prequel, but I read the first prequel. But I put it on here. One, I love Dylan O'Brien. I would let that man run me over with a tractor.
oh yeah.
But I've only seen the first movie,
Mm.
but I really loved it. But I loved the books. The first book was absolutely my favorite, hands down. I remember reading the scene where Thomas was running from, I don't remember the name of the monsters because it's been so long,
Gravers.
but there you go. He was running from it, and like I remember it giving like the descriptions, and it was like following him around the corners, and I remember being so stressed as my little 13-year-old self, like freaking out.
Yeah.
My heart was beating out of my chest, and I really feel like they did that really well in the
Mhm.
movie. I
Yeah.
can never find all of the movies online though.
Yeah.
Ever. I
I
can never
know
find the Scorch Trials.
I don't know about Scorch Trials. I know Death Cure, it was on Hulu. I don't know if it still is. Um,
Did they
but
do
I will
one
say
movie or two for Death Cure?
one.
Okay. Was there
Yeah.
supposed to be a second one?
No.
Okay. So they
Um,
did finish it.
yes. I will say that a lot of reason that people don't like the movies is because the movies deviate quite a bit from the books
Mm-hmm.
just because of like logistics. Like there's a scene in Scorch Trials where they're going up the stairs and they're being decapitated by the little bowling ball things. They were not able to do that for the movies. So that does not happen in the Scorch Trial
I
movie.
wonder why.
So there are some deviations, but I think that what they did instead was absolutely great, and I love them so much. And I think they were smart choices. So,
I need to find them and I need to rewatch them, mostly
mhm.
because of Dylan O'Brien.
Yes.
I love that man. I love that man. Hit me up. Matt doesn't need to know about it. Um, my next one, you these are not in any particular order. This is simply just like me going through what I thought of and like my have read list. My
Yeah.
next one you have not read or seen, but you've
Mm.
said that you want to read it. Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yes.
Now, I am making a disclaimer for the world that is listening to this. I did not know before I read this book or before I watched the movie that the author has scandals
Yeah, that's why
and
I wanted
that
to read it through the library.
she may possibly be a murderer.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with that. How in the biscuits was I supposed to know that she probably murdered someone in Africa 30 years ago? How was I supposed to know that? How was I supposed to know that the book might be based off of what she did to The book is good. The book is really good. It made me cry. It was very, very well done. I listened to it as an audiobook. The audiobook was fabulous. The movie, yes, it deviates. Cassian, it does deviate from the book a little bit. It doesn't show as much of her backstory and her as a kid as it does in the book. And there's a little bit more of her relationship with both guys, but either way, it's very well done. The movie,
Mm.
I watched it before I read the book. It made me want to read the book. I do that a lot of the time because I watch the movie first. That way I can't be disappointed. If I've seen the if I've read the book first, then I know what happens, and if they do something wrong, I get disappointed. So I like
That's
to
very
watch the
fair.
movie first.
I've done that with a few books. I did that with Maze Runner.
So I think it was very well done. The movie literally had me crying buckets. Like Matt was straight up making fun of me. I was crying. so hard. And I think about it all the time. I want to rewatch this movie. It was amazing.
Hmm.
So, whatever you think about the author, whether or not she's a murderer, I think it's a very well done adaptation.
Yeah. Um, I
What are you
think I'm
doing?
gonna pair these last two together. They have absolutely nothing to do with each other, but
Mhm.
I love both of them and I think they're both very well done. And I have something to say about both of them that applies to both of them. So, um, the Shadow and Bone from Netflix and the Percy Jackson show, they have nothing to do with each other. But I want to lump them together because they're both very well done and I love them. But I need people to realize, or audiences of the books need to realize, that if you complain about a show not following the books to a very exact T, they're going to cancel the show. Because that's what happened with Shadow and Bone and the Six of Crows spinoff. They canceled it because people were complaining that they're not like the books, down to very minuscule details. People kept complaining, so they canceled the show and the spinoff. And now people of Percy Jackson they're getting very heated about some of the differences that Rick Riordan has changed himself because he is part of the show. So he has a big say in what happens. But he's not following the books that he wrote 10 years ago because 10, 20 years ago, because his opinions have changed, obviously. And there's stuff in those books that he does not like anymore. So he's changing stuff in the show, which is perfectly fine. But people don't seem to realize that if you don't stop complaining about it, they're going to cancel the show because they think that you hate it. We don't have enough listeners to actually listen to this message and have this point get across. But I don't care. I need to say it. It needs to be on record.
I understand. I do. Is
Because
that
Six of Crows, I was loving it. And then they canceled it, and now I don't get to see Freddie Carter as Kaz Brecker again. And I'm so upset. You still need to watch season 2 so you can see episode 4 Kaz Brecker. Thank you very much, ma'am.
I haven't watched season 2. I didn't know that they had fully canceled it, so that's
Mhm.
my bad. However, I have read all of the books. Have you read the Shadow and Bone books?
No, but I've read Six of
No,
Crows. Thank you.
I have not read Six of Crows. I have a boop in my lap. Let me turn because she was complaining at the door and she needed some love. Well, I understand. I also need to watch the Percy Jackson
Mhm.
adaptation. Um, I have
Just
a
keep in mind
lot.
that when you do watch the Percy Jackson show, remember that it was made for children, so if anything seems childish, it's because it's supposed to be. They're 12.
I am one of the few people that does actually understand that, which is why I didn't like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe because I understand that it's for children and not for me. And that's okay. Boopus, you're falling out of my lap, mamas. I have a lot on my love list. I have a lot. Were those your last two?
Yeah.
I just put like as many as I could think of. Um, I'll just do the ones that I feel like matter the most. The Vampire Diaries, which
I
were
haven't read the book, so I don't know.
she has not read the books. The
But
books are not good.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that they like the show a lot more than the books, which is really interesting because that doesn't usually happen. But I'm going to take their
Yes,
word for it.
which is why it's here on my list. So, the books are not good. I love LJ Smith. I love her books. Also, my camera is shaking because Clementine is she's tummy licking. That means that she's real happy right now. She's tummy licking. So she's moving my whole desk. But I love LG Smith. That woman literally can't finish writing books to save her life. So the Vampire Diaries was taken over by ghostwriters. I have read the first 4 books, so the original series. literally almost nothing is the same. Elena is 10,000 times more annoying. She's about as like bitchy cheerleader as you can possibly get. Like she's spoiled. She's spoiled. She's awful. She's gross. She's basically like, Stefan is mine. No one
Ew.
else can have him. And I'm like,
Ew.
okay. Also, she's blonde and she has blue eyes. And that is like a huge, huge, huge part of her character is the fact that
Mm.
she's blonde haired and has blue eyes. Damon is able to turn into a bird. I think it's a raven or a crow or something. He's able to turn into a bird. He turns into a bird. Stefan cannot turn into a bird, but Damon can turn into a flippin' bird.
I feel like if they had done that in the show and they did that for all of the vampires, then it would have been fine. But it's weird that it's just Damon.
It's just Damon. And then I found out that apparently later in the series, which this was not in the TV show, it's like a whole thing that Elena is half angel. I don't
What
know
the
if
hell?
there's anything to do with like doppelgangers or like the reincarnation, blah, blah, XYZ. But in the books, she is part angel. And I guess that's why she's just so special, is she's part angel. I love L.J.
Okay.
Smith. The books are literally ass. The show, Bopus. The show saved everything. It saved everything. It was beautiful. I cried all of the tears.
I
All of the
heard
tears.
that when they were making the show, again, this is allegedly, I had no idea if this actually happened. I just heard it on TikTok, which we know is a very reliable source. Um, but I heard that LJ Smith pitched a fit when they casted Bonnie's actress because she's black.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. So essentially, I don't know if LJ Smith is racist or what, but
I mean,
there's not black people in her books. It's a thing.
that's the thing with Bonnie alone seems pretty racist to me, but
Yes.
who am I to talk about that?
Bonnie was supposed to be extremely pale with big, huge, curly red hair like Merida. Whether or not that has anything to actually do with her character, I have no idea, but Elena being blonde was like a big, huge thing. But yes.
Interesting.
Also, the cats are fighting. LJ Smith, she just stopped writing, so they had to bring in the ghostwriter so that they could finish the series. So then it just
Yeah.
deviated from everything.
Yeah, that
What are you gonna do?
yeah. I mean, what else do you expect? I mean, how are they supposed to continue a series if it just stopped being
Game
written?
of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
I didn't want to say anything, but everyone was thinking it.
I have so many other books on this list.
I have quite a few for my hate list.
I only have 3 for my hate list. Like, look at me. Usually I hate everything. Now, my next one on my love list, which I guess unpopular opinion, I don't know, but it's going through a renaissance. Twilight. Twilight.
It's only a
It is
bad
pretty,
adaptation if you take it seriously.
yes. It is pretty damn accurate to the books. Are there a
It's
couple
pretty
of
good.
a couple of, things that are off? Yeah, of course. That's with everything. But I will forever feel so nostalgic towards Twilight and love it. I literally have a Twilight shirt, which I got like 2 weeks ago. Twilight Renaissance. Are you kidding me? I remember when it first came out. and I was absolutely in love with Robert Pattinson. I love him in the first movie. He's so stinking cute. And Rosalie's backstory is one of my favorite things. I absolutely
Oh
love it.
yeah,
I wish we
absolutely.
could get more on it.
Hmm.
And I just think it's very well done. I think it was great for what it was at the time. I think it
Hmm.
still holds up. And I remember
Yeah.
seeing Breaking Dawn Part 2 in theaters at midnight at, how old was I? 15 years old. Oh my God, it's been 10 years. And literally freaking out in the theater about this movie because nobody was expecting it because I hadn't finished the books yet.
Hmm.
Cassian, you are in the way. I hadn't finished the books yet, and I had learned around this time that books books are movies are not equivalent to books. That's what my cousin taught me. So I had seen
Hmm.
up to Eclipse. So I started like reading Eclipse and then was moving on. She was like, "No, you need to start at the beginning because I didn't understand at that time that you were supposed to read books in order
This
and
was a
that you
whole
can't."
thing that we had a discussion about a couple years ago. I was shocked to find
I
out
had
that she
no
did not read books
idea.
in order.
So, because oh my God, I started Harry Potter when I was in like middle school. I started with the Goblet of Fire because I had literally no idea that there were other books in the series and that you were supposed to start at the beginning. So I started with Goblet of Fire, and then with Twilight I started with Eclipse, and I was like, "Yeah, this is fine." And my cousin was like, "No, dude." I was like, "Well, I've seen the first two movies." And she was like, "No, you need to read the books to
Yeah.
understand." So she gave me her copies of the books, and I still have them, and I have reread them. And I love the books. I love the movies. Say what you want about Stephanie Meyer, her and her weird Mormonness. Her book, The Host, which I have on here, is one of my favorite books to ever exist. It should have been on my favorite standalones book list in the first episode.
Mm.
What are you gonna do? I love it. The adaptation for The Host was pretty much phenomenal. She was supposed to write more books in the series and then decided not to and decided to do gender bent Twilight instead.
Yeah.
Literally nobody asked for that, but that's what she decided to do. So,
Yeah.
whatever. I just see The Host as like its finished series book, whatever. I think it has a good ending for what it is. It's amazing. It's what got me into sci-fi. I hate aliens. These are the only aliens other than Ice Planet Barbarians that I will accept because they're just little shiny sparkly worms. And we love Wanda. It's a good book. It is a good book. I can deal with sparkly worms. I can't deal with the funky face hugger giant tentacle monsters from Prometheus. That we're not doing. That shit's creepy.
Going back to Twilight for a second, did I tell you that our eighth grade science teacher took away one of my Twilight books because I was reading when we weren't doing anything?
Mr. Vane?
Yeah. I was in the
Me?
middle of reading Twilight. I think I was reading Eclipse. And we weren't doing anything. Like it was towards the end of class and people were like finishing up their assignment. I was done with my assignment that we did. And he took my book because I wasn't doing my assignment, but I was done with it. I was so mad. He gave it to me because it was the end of the day already, but like he still took it for like 10 minutes that didn't need to happen.
I also have a story about one of the Twilight books. So I used to have a family friend that I would go and stay with, and her family was super religious. Super
Oh.
religious. I am not. At the time, I was trying to be because
Mm.
a lot of my friends were, but I am not religious, nor will I ever be. So I was over at her house and I was reading Breaking Dawn for the first time. And her mom, I guess, had heard about the books or whatever. And she saw me reading like on the floor of the living room. I wasn't reading like any of the parts, but she like looked at me and she was like, Bianca, do those books excite you? I was like,
Ew.
I don't know. I like them. I guess so. It's about vampires, whatever. And she was like, how appropriate. I was like, what did I do? I'm just reading a book. Do those books excite you? Girl,
That's
calm
such a
down.
that's such a weird way to say it. That's
I'm like,
why would you oh
so
no.
you know what's in them. So you know. Does it
Well, that's
excite
like
you?
that's like our fifth grade math teacher telling me that she loved 50 Shades of Grey. I don't need to know that.
She did not tell us at the time that we were in fifth grade. We
No,
used to be teachers
at
at
the
the
same school.
elementary school that we used to go to, and it was our fourth, fifth grade math teacher who then told us as adults that she loves 50 Shades of Grey. Let me make that disclaimer. It was not when we were in the fifth grade. It hadn't even come
No.
out then. It came
No.
out like around the time that we were in middle school, I think. And I did read all three books plagiarized online when I was 14. That tells
Obviously.
you basically everything you need to know about me.
How else were you going to read them, you know?
Plagiarized on the internet at 14. Why
I
not?
mean, we all watched anime like that and movies and those sketchy websites, so you know. What else are you gonna do? Might as well
Books.
apply it to books too.
She is being needy as all get out. I tell you what. I have one last one, which I actually don't have one last one, but this is the one that matters the most that I know that you're going to have an opinion on. I really
Oh,
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
listen, I could do a part two. I could do a part two.
We're gonna have to do a part two for that.
So, my last one that really matters that I know you care about is Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Everybody knows that Pride and Prejudice is a very well done adaptation. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet in the podcast. I'm not a very big fan of classics unless it's by Jane Austen. Like,
Fair.
I love Jane
Totally
Austen
fair.
and I collect her books.
Hmm.
So I have Pride and Prejudice in a very pretty cover. I have Mansfield Park. I I'm no, I don't have a regular one of Emma, but I had like a really crappy large print edition of Persuasion, and then one of my coworkers was really sweet and bought me a really cute edition of Persuasion because it's my
Oh.
favorite. And then I have a really fancy edition of a collection of her stories, which will be a family heirloom. Hold on. Everybody saw my little mismatched socks. So, this is going to be flipped, but it's got gold on it. And it's got gold pages. It's so pretty, and it has Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Emma, and Northanger Abbey. I've only read the first two, but I got this at a used bookstore for $8. And then I looked it up and it's worth about 240. So,
Nice.
It's a family heirloom, but that was
Oh
several
yeah.
years ago, so I don't know if it's still worth that much. We're just gonna keep it
Yeah.
next to me. Anyway, I love Pride and Prejudice. I love the movie. I haven't seen, I think, the mini series adaptation that they did with Colin, whatever his last name is, but I have seen the 2004 2005 movie with Keira Knightley, which
Yeah.
was
That one, a
amazing.
lot of people actually don't like the 2005 adaptation. They prefer the miniseries, but I'm going to fight for Keira Knightley until I die.
Like, are you kidding me?
Right? And the hand scene.
The hand! Oh
Ugh.
my gosh. I need to watch the miniseries. I have not seen it just because Colin, whatever his last name is, he just gives me the ick. Not that the one in 2005 is much better, but Keira Knightley, bro.
Oh yeah.
That woman
Anything for
is
Keira Knightley. Are
beautiful.
you
A-
kidding?
Absolutely. I love her. But yes, I had to bring up Pride and Prejudice. I love Jane Austen. I haven't read many other classics.
Mm,
I read The Importance of Being Earnest and The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which I liked, but I feel like Jane Austen's her writing is the easiest to digest this far in the future from when it has been written. Like I can
yeah.
still understand it, it
Yeah.
still makes sense, and it still hurts. Persuasion hurt my soul. Now, the Netflix adaptation for that, a lot of people did not like because it broke the fourth wall and they felt like it was too modern. I really liked it. I like Dakota Johnson. I think she did a good job. It was very cute to me, and I
Mhm.
thought it was funny, and that's what matters.
Yeah. I I need to read The Picture of Dorian Gray. I want to, but mostly because Ben Barnes is Dorian Gray in the adaptation, which I really want to watch because it's rated R. So, are you kidding? Ben Barnes.
I
He's a
didn't
pretty boy.
know that.
You didn't know that? I looked it
No.
up and it's rated R. Ben Barnes is in it. It's young Ben Barnes. It's like Prince Caspian Ben Barnes. So I love it. I love it. Ben Barnes is hot already, but young Ben Barnes, even hotter.
I'm putting up a finger to remember a point about Ben Barnes, but I didn't know that there was actually a movie adaptation for The Picture of Dorian Gray. I knew
Mhm.
that there was Dorian Gray in the League of Exceptional Villains or something. I don't remember exactly what it's
I
called.
think there's two adaptations. I think there's like a later one that's in like black and white, and then the most recent one is the one with Ben Barnes.
Oh, but yeah, in the League of Exceptional Villains, whatever it's called, that one, it's not correct. It's not correct. It does not. No. Because Dorian Gray, now, I'm sure that Ben Barnes did an amazing job, but Dorian Gray was meant to be blonde. He was meant
Yeah.
to be blonde and he was meant to look like an Adonis. But Ben Barnes.
Mm.
Now, the finger that I was holding up and my point about Ben Barnes. Okay, I haven't really seen anything with him young because I haven't seen Prince Caspian. But Ben Barnes in Shadow and Bone. Oh my Jesus. I love villains. Oh my God. Kick me in the mouth. Let's go.
Listen, we know that the Darkling is not a good person,
It don't
but Ben
matter.
Barnes, it doesn't matter when you look like Ben Barnes.
You can have my sun powers. You kidding me? Now, he was also recently in a Netflix show called Cabinet of Curiosities, which is an anthology horror series. That
Mm.
man was beautiful in that too. He was crazy. He was
Yeah.
crazy,
Ben
but he was
Barnes is
beautiful.
actually the fan casting of a lot of young Sirius Black.
That checks out.
Like young Ben Barnes, if you look at the pictures and you get an idea of what young Sirius Black looked like, he is Sirius Black to a T. And people like it was all over Tumblr. And people still do it to these days. They still make a lot of edits with him as Sirius Black because he has the face for it.
He's a beautiful man.
He's a very beautiful man.
That's all that matters. Okay, now tell me, now that I'm done with mostly all of the ones that I love, we'll leave the other ones for now. Tell me about your whatever else you have going on.
I I was gonna do hate, but I don't know. They're all pretty self-explanatory. So I feel like there's not really a whole lot so we can come
We'll
to
get to
those like
that at the end.
yeah. We can do like rapid fire hate at the end just because they're all self-explanatory. Um for hesitant, I want an Unwind adaptation, but I'm very hesitant about it because I know that there's some things that they are not going to be able to do. And and I know that that show or movie, whatever they do with it, would cause an uproar, chaos.
It would be
There would,
so controversial.
I know. I don't even think that they would be able to get the pilot onto TV. I really don't. I
People
want
would be
it,
like,
but I doubt it.
so can we do this? Like
Yeah.
it would be so controversial. Like The Handmaid's Tale is so controversial and like so many people get upset about it and they're like, "Oh my God, do 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 do." Yeah, well, shit like this is happening in the world and the author
Yeah.
literally said that everything in the books is based off of things that have happened at some point in time.
Yeah.
Okay, with Unwind, you know that people would get up in a tizzy about like late term abortion and murder and do 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 whatever. But I totally get you. I think that it would be
Yeah.
really cool to see.
I would eat it up, but a lot of people wouldn't. But I would be very interested to see what audience, like who would be on what side. Like, would people actually root for Connor and Lev and the rest of them, or would they be on side with the unwinding part? Would they see that as a viable option? Which is why I kind of don't want the adaptation because I don't want anyone getting any ideas because that's terrifying.
You know what? Unwind me. I'm done.
We're
I'm
too old to
done.
be on WoW now. We're stuck.
I volunteer as tribute. I
I mean,
volunteer.
yeah. Do you
I
have
only
any that
have
you are
one that
hesitant
I'm
about?
hesitant. I only have
Mm.
one, which is the soon to be at some point adaptation for A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR. I really, really love the series. I am currently working on the Throne of Glass series, but I have finished what has been released for A Court of Thorns and Roses. And why did it have to be Hulu?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hulu movies and Hulu shows are not good. I I can't think of a
There are some
single
good ones. There's some
I
good
can't
ones
think
that
of
I
any.
liked. Um, I think decently. Love Victor was done pretty well. It's a spin-off. It's not canon or anything, but it's a spin-off of Love Simon.
I have
And
not seen that.
I actually thought it was pretty good. There is another movie called Crush, I think. It's a sapphic movie. They do gay stuff very well. I'll put that out there.
Unfortunately, ACOTAR is not gay, though
No.
I wish it were, but it is not gay, so they probably will mess it up.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like HBO should have been the ones to pick up ACOTAR because it's raunchy. It's
Yeah.
spicy as hell. And they do that very well, i.e., Game of Thrones. And Hulu, I really just have not had good experiences with like Hulu movies and things like that. Maybe
Mm.
they'll do amazing, but I really feel like they're about to have a white man play Rhysand, and that's not what he is. As much as some people may say, that man is not white. He is brown. I don't care. He is brown.
Kind of like Cal from Red Queen.
Exactly. The man is brown. His dad is brown. Maven is white. Maven is white as hell. He's white. He's got his blue eyes. Cal is brown.
Mm.
Resand is brown. They're about to get some basic ass white man with a sharp jawline and be like, yes, this is your high lord. No, he ain't. No, he ain't.
I mean, I
Not
don't
my
have
high lord.
we, we know I don't really have any intentions on reading ACOTAR, um, but I would give the show a shot at the very least. I can skip through the smutty parts.
I want it to be spicy, and I don't know if Hulu will give me that.
That's a good
Please don't
question.
fade to black. Wow. But also, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those that nobody is going to be happy with, like,
Yeah,
any casting,
yeah.
no matter
Everyone's going to be
what you
fighting, and
do.
that's going to go back to my argument of if you complain about it, they're going to cancel it.
And then, we're
You got to be
screwed.
thankful for what you got. But people don't know how to do that these days.
So I will
All
be
right.
waiting with bated breath for this damn adaptation.
Yeah. There, I don't, my last one that I really, it's the only, I only have two on my hesitant list, but, uh, the Lunar Chronicles got confirmed to be being made into a animated TV show. So I have
Okay.
hopes for that because you can make it work. Of all the aspects that are in the Lunar Chronicles, you can make a lot of that work with animation because then they would have to like CGI Cinder's leg and hand and like Wolf's face and stuff like that. So there's a lot that wouldn't work in like a live adaptation, but I'm still going to be hesitant just because of how much I love the books. I'm going to be very, very hesitant about the show,
But I will
even if it
take
is animated.
animated
I
because
will take animated.
again, with casting, you can fuck it up. Because
Yeah.
they'd be like, yeah, we'll get a white girl that looks slightly ambiguous of race and just call it a day. No,
Yeah. No.
she's
Cinder needs to
Asian.
be Asian.
That's the
She needs to
point.
be. And I think she's specifically like dark skin Asian. I think that's
Ooh,
how Marissa Meyer wrote her, I think, or that's how she envisioned her. Um who else? Winter needs to be black, obviously. Um
duh.
so yeah. And Wolf is Hispanic, I
Oh,
think. I think he's a brown. He's described as having olive skin, so I don't, he's brown. He is a man of
representation,
color.
diversity. Stop putting
Disabilities.
white people in roles they're not supposed to be in. But yes, also disabilities. Cinder
Yes.
is literally missing a flippin' leg and
Yeah,
her
she's an amputee.
hand.
Yes, her left hand.
Like, disabilities representation. Also, Winter is crazy as fuck. Mental
Yeah.
illness representation. She's
Yeah.
about as crazy as it gets. So we need this.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I feel like they could definitely do a lot better with animated than with
Yeah.
live action. A lot of people thought that an animated ACOTAR would be interesting because there's people that have like stuff on like TikTok. There's someone that's illustrating the series and they have like different paintings that they do for different scenes and they're very
Mhm.
beautiful. They're very well done. And honestly, if you just did that for like the whole thing, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
I'd
I
be
do
fine
like
with
the
it.
fan art of ACOTAR. ACOTAR has some really pretty fan art. So,
It just, I don't know. It stabs me
I don't know.
straight in the
I feel like,
chest.
yeah, I feel like ACOTAR is one of those ones that like you could make it work with an animated series, but it would also be hit or miss because it might be one of those things where, like, if you have a specific scene, then it might work better with actual people. Because, like, Who wants to be watching hentai?
People that like hentai.
I
But
fair.
I get it. Maybe animation wouldn't be the best for it because then, like, sometimes animation is seen as juvenile.
Yeah.
So I figure it, and it's so funny to me that it originally was marketed as young adult.
Yeah. Mm.
SJM, what are you talking about? But it's definitely it is adult. It is adult content.
Yeah.
So yes, live action would probably be best, but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I'm
Nobody's
hesitant.
gonna it's
I feel the
the live
fear.
action would be best, but no one's going to be happy about it.
No,
So
no matter what you do, because it has such a cult following. I'm part of the
yeah.
cult. Don't look at
I'm
me.
watching from the sidelines.
I'll keep you
I
updated.
I know too much about ACOTAR from the internet to actively enjoy it.
And for
Because
me,
I've
just
seen
telling you
yeah.
nonsense.
Just because I've seen so much and I've heard so much that I pretty much already know what happens that need I don't feel the need to read them, you know? So,
Understandable. Do you have
all
any
right,
others on
so
your hate list? Or not hate, no, you said you had the last ones in your hesitant list.
yeah,
I have
I have
one in mixed feelings,
mm, go for it.
which is the Mortal Instruments.
Yes, agree.
I have mixed
I
feelings for both.
mhm,
So, uh, the movie, I feel like, okay, so the movie I was really excited about.
mhm,
I was super into the Mortal Instruments. Okay,
yeah,
I always say this. I know that Cassie Clare has problems. She has problems. Her writing now is literally garbage. But I will always love the Mortal Instruments
yeah.
and the Infernal Devices. But the
Mhm.
movie I was so excited about. Oh my God, the casting was
The
like
casting
ass.
was
The casting was
yeah.
ass.
The only casting that I think that they did absolutely amazing with was Godfrey Gao with Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was perfect for Magnus. He was
Mm-hmm.
the only one that they got right. And like
I
I love Harry Shum Jr. from the TV show. I love him, but Godfrey Gao is he was Magnus.
Yes. Um oh God, it's like they have good bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So Clary, I feel like Lily, whatever her last name is, physically fit Clary more, other
Hmm.
than her hair color, because it was meant to be like fucking carrot orange and huge.
Yeah.
Physically, like she was meant to be small, she was meant to be like younger looking. Cat, whatever her last name is in the show, I feel like she does not fit the physical description of Clary other than her hair color.
Yeah.
That's all that fits for me because I have literally read these books at least 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
I
That's fair.
Jace in the movie, not even close. Not even close. That man literally looks sickly. He looks
Jamie
sickly.
Jamie Kimball
Jamie?
Bower, I liked him as Vecna in
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things, but that man is not. He was too skinny for Jace.
Like
Jace
he
is
took off
he
his shirt and then it started playing like the Demi Lovato song. And I'm just
yeah.
like, what are we doing? Like
This man is skin
we're
and bones. That's not a muscular man. I'm not impressed.
like Jace is meant to be built like a brick shit house.
Yeah.
Jamie
He
Kimmel
looks like
Bower
you
is
would get a
not.
paper cut if you hugged him.
Yes. But I feel like his personality did fit Jace a little bit more. Like,
Yeah.
call me, I
Yeah.
don't remember actors' names ever. The one in the show, I really, I don't know. He just felt off.
Yeah. I can see that. I can understand
He
that.
felt off. Both Alec and Isabel in the movie,
Why were they
absolutely
British?
not.
Why
Absolutely
were they
not.
British?
Like, no. No, I don't care. However, Simon in the movie, I think, again, I can never remember their names, but the actor, I think he did a phenomenal job. I think that he was
Yeah.
flipping adorable.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think
He was a
that
great
Simon
Simon.
was done very well, but
Yeah.
everything else was terrible.
Hmm.
And
We know
oh,
I will praise Matthew Daddario until the end of time.
that is
I will
Alec. That is
I will
Alec.
s- I will simp for that man until the day I die. I do not care. I love Matthew Daddario. So he is Alec. I love him. I love him.
Did I find it a little bit weird that Isabel was Hispanic and Alec was not? Yeah, but also maybe they're mixed because sometimes mixed children, one of them looks a
Well,
little bit
their
more
dad
white,
was
one of them,
white, I
you
think.
know.
I think they did
Um,
make the mix. I think because like Maris, I think they made Maris Hispanic too. And
mhm.
then their dad, I don't remember what his name was,
I
Robert.
don't know.
I think
Yes.
he was white.
Yes. So
So,
like, they just some of
yeah.
them ended up with some more ink in the printer than others. It's fine. But I feel like
Yeah.
Isabel was done very well. Alec, of course. Love Harry Shum Jr. I did not like Jace or Clary. Um, I don't
One thing
remember
I
anybody else, but Valentine from the movie. What in the bejesus was that?
dude, I
What was that? I don't. Ew. 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 Why is
yeah.
he shirtless? Ew.
One thing I
Oh.
absolutely loved about the show, and this is really more of just like based on um writing cliches and tropes in books, especially like early 2000s YA books, is female characters hating other characters just because they're girls. So like I loved that the show made Clary and Izzy like BFFs immediately
Because in
because
the books, it's like,
I, they they were at war with each other just because they were both girls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is
what are
wrong
we
with you?
doing?
But they made them best friends in the show immediately, and it was wonderful. I loved that.
So either way, both of the adaptations were not great.
No,
They
but
were they were not great.
I did want more of the show just because I could tolerate the actors just a little bit more.
Understandable. The ending was stupid.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
because
stupid.
they had to rush it.
Yeah,
So,
it was
so
stupid. It
yeah.
was stupid. I hated it.
I I wanted to see Evil Magnus. The plan
Dude,
was that Magnus was going to be stuck in whatever it's called, hell. He was going to be stuck there, and then Alec and the rest of the Shadow Hunters were going to fight to get Magnus back. I love temporary evil heroes. So like Void Styles was
Blind
absolutely
Styles.
wonderful. I loved that. So I wanted to see that happen with Magnus just because I love that trope and I love seeing it, but unfortunately we did not see that.
I mean, we also didn't see Clary losing her virginity to Jason Hell next to a pond. Of all the places. Like, I get it. You think you're gonna die. But at the
Yeah.
same time, girl, are you gonna tell your kids that you dead ass lost your virginity in hell on the dirty ground?
It was on like a gravel road.
Like, around the corner from people. They were in a cave.
And there was like water, and I'm oh man.
Cassie, what were you doing? She could have got an infection.
Stepping aside from the whole incest thing, that whole plot of them just in heavenly fire, everyone in hell, everything that happened was insane. The only thing that made sense was Magnus, Luke, and Raphael being locked up. That was the only thing that made sense.
You know. Oh my gosh. That's my only mixed feelings one. That's all I got, but
Yeah.
I had a lot to say.
I totally agree with that. I didn't have any with mixed feelings, but then, you brought that up and I was like, yeah. Yep.
That's
Um, one that I'm gonna say, I don't hate might be too strong of a word, but strongly dislike
okay.
Divergent. They didn't
I have
even
that on my
finish the
list too.
series. I can't like an adaptation if they didn't even finish the series.
I I put like a little addendum on here. The first movie, when it came out, literally was so cool. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I want a tattoo of three birds up my forearm.
Oh yeah, everybody did.
Wow. But I, oh my God, Shailene Woodley. I saw a TikTok where someone was talking about her screams and
Hmm.
how shitty her screams are. She just,
I didn't
and
even think about
I just,
that.
with whatever she's doing, it's like the same
Hmm.
exact horrible scream that she does.
Hmm.
I just recently, within like the past couple of months, finally watched Insurgent and Allegiant, and
Hmm.
I literally I hated Allegiant. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What does this have to do with anything? She's some crazy master race or something now that's gonna save the
Yeah,
world. What are you talking about?
so bad. And it was a trip, man. And like I don't I the only thing that I liked that Shailene Woodley was in that I watched was The Fault in Our Stars. Because I watched Secret Life of the American Teenager. I got through one season before I like hated myself. It was
I've
so
never
bad.
seen it. I've seen a couple of movies with her in it. Hated all of them. The Fault in Our
The
Stars will always be the best. That was a very well
Yeah.
done adaptation. That was also on my list for part two.
Oh. Yeah, that
But like
the Secret
Divergent,
Life
it's
of the
just
American Teenager, it's not good. But Divergent,
yeah. I've
yeah.
seen bits and pieces on TikTok of
Hmm.
her being like super spoiled, and the mom is just like, "Yeah, I'm not taking care of your baby." And she's like, "What do you mean? I have to go to school. I have to have a life." And the mom is like, "Yeah, I told you not to have the baby. That sucks. Figure
Yeah.
it out." I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell you. And you know what? That's kind of how I feel. Like if I were ever to have a kid and they're like, "Yeah, I got pregnant. I don't want to do anything about it." Okay, I'm not raising your kid.
Yeah.
And then they have the baby and they're like, "Mom, I need you to babysit." That sucks. That
Yeah.
sucks. I told you how it
Uh,
was gonna be. I'm so sorry.
yeah. Not my fault you didn't listen.
But like Divergent, the fact that they didn't finish the series, but then also to deviate from the book so completely,
It completely off rail.
it gave me whiplash.
Yeah.
Whiplash. I didn't even finish the last movie. I was like, I
Mhm.
can't do this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't understand. But then also, like, everyone feels disdainful towards this book series anyway because Veronica Roth literally ruined dystopian YA.
Yeah.
She committed the most taboo of taboos. Like, you
Yeah.
don't do that. Hello.
Yeah.
Break the mold, but at the same time, no, you broke my 13-year-old heart.
Yeah. You didn't even break the mold. You broke everything.
You broke everything. And now dystopian YA is dead. It's dead. It is
Yeah.
dead. It is a dumpster fire.
Mm.
I don't know if it'll ever come back, and it makes me so sad because I love dystopian books, dude.
I know.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Suffer. Cry.
I only have two others on my hate list. One is Beautiful Creatures.
Hmm. That was
Have
on
you
mine too.
read the books?
I read the first one.
I have all of the books. I have read all of the books. The adaptation was ass. It was ass. It made no sense. It made no
Mm.
sense what was going on. What? But also, like, now the books kind of are not great because, like, Lena, girl, what were you doing? Oh, I have to choose between good and evil. And my older cousin is trying to screw my boyfriend. And she's like running off with all these dudes on motorcycles, just being crazy. And then I think his name was Ethan. Ethan, I don't like anybody named Ethan, but Ethan, he's over here and he's just trying to find his girlfriend. And he's just trying to make sure that she's okay. And she's like, get away from me. I hate you. Do 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 do. I'm gonna go be dirty. This man didn't do anything. He loves you. He's just trying to make sure you're okay. The movie was not good.
Mm.
The movie made no sense.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's all I have
My
because I blocked it out. I only have one other book that I hate
yeah.
that was
My
adapted.
I okay, so I'm going to admit to not having read the book for this one, but we watched the movie and the movie was so bad that it put me off of reading the books. Vampire Academy.
I refuse to read the books. What was that movie?
I know what was
She's
happening.
like
I could not keep up.
16. We watched this together. She was like 16 and she's with homie who's old. He was
He was
old.
like,
He was in
what,
his
a teacher
40s.
or something? Yeah.
I don't actually know how old he was, but he looked like he was in his 40s and it was like gross as hell.
He was
I
not a
didn't
student. That's all
understand
that mattered.
anything what was going
No.
on.
Mm-mm.
What was happening with
We
so
sat there on
many
the
people.
couch just staring at the TV because we had no idea what was going on.
So many people recommend these books and say that they're amazing. Like, oh, if you like
Hmm.
this book, then you should read Vampire Academy. I don't
After
think
that movie, I'm scared
no,
to.
no. Now, granted, maybe we're being buttheads and maybe the books are amazing, but
Yeah,
at the same time, I feel like I'm not in the demographic anymore for those
that's
books.
fair. Yeah. I'm not super into vampires anymore unless there's a biting kink. So,
Again, ladies and gents, she won't read smut, but she's into books with biting kinks. I don't know, man.
what's the point
But
of writing a vampire book if you're not going to have a biting kink? That's my thing.
what are you gonna do? But I don't know. I'm not gonna do it. My last book to movie adaptation that I hate, I don't think you've read or seen, but I could be wrong. All the Bright Places.
I wanted to watch the movie and then you watched it and you hated it. And I said, nope.
I loved this book when I was like 17 years old because at that time I was deeply depressed and unalivable in my brain, okay?
Yeah.
And I really liked to read books that had to do with like mental illness and things like that. I loved the book.
Hmm.
I loved it so much. I literally cried so much. I think about it all the time. And watching the movie was so disappointing. I hated the way that they did it. I hated the way that they handled the mental illness. And we know how I feel about people with punchable faces. I have a
Yeah.
couple of actors that I cannot stand. The the actor that played Finch, Justice, whatever his last name is, I hate his face. I hate his face. I hate him in anything he has been in. I cannot stand to look at him. I'm sorry. He ruined the movie for me. He ruined it. I couldn't stand to look at him on the screen, and then it just made everything worse.
Mm. Yeah, you were ranting about the movie as you watched it, and I was like, maybe not.
It was
Because I
garbage. It could have
did,
been so
because I did
good.
intend to watch the movie because I heard that the book was good. I haven't read the book. I kind of want to read the book, but I also kind of don't. I don't know.
Be
Um,
prepared to cry yourself to death.
yeah. But you were mad about the movie, and I was like, I'm gonna take that off my list. Thank you very much. Gonna pass on that, homie.
That's all I
All
have
right.
for ones that I hate.
Yeah, that
Maybe
was
we'll do a
pretty
part
much
2
mine.
if we can find more, but I have like
I'm sure
6
there's more out
left
there.
that I
Yeah.
love. What are you gonna do?
Part 2. It'll be fine. Um, all right. So I'm guessing that's it. That's a wrap for this episode. So thank you so much, friends, for listening to this week's long episode. Who knew how we were going to have another long episode? You can find Narrative Notions on YouTube or Spotify, depending on whether or not you want to see our beautiful faces. And we will see you in the next episode.